Chapter 2, what you need to do to qualify for a pay rise. When people go in to request to have their remuneration reviewed, they should have a pretty long list of things that they've done to justify their request. But long before you go into that meeting and you prepare that list, you're going to have to actually act the part, and you're going to have to deserve the pay rise. So I'm going to walk you through about a dozen or so points that if you're not doing them, you should start doing them. Because if you're going to ask for a pay rise, you might think, maybe not Friday, maybe in 3 months. In 3 months, people can see changes. In 3 months, people can see that you're making an extra effort. So the very first thing you need to do if you're going to successfully ask for a pay rise is know your job. Might sound silly, but a lot of people don't fully understand what is expected of them and what is considered a good job and what in the boss's mind is considered outstanding. So know your job, and then secondly, do that job really well. The best way to show your boss you deserve a pay rise is to do the job you were hired for and do it really, really well. A third thing, remember to arrive at work on time. Your punctuality shows professionalism, responsibility, and dedication to your job. Be sure to let your employer know that you possess all of those qualities and that you're deserving of a pay rise because you're dependable, you'll be there, and they want you to stay there. How about this one? Do an extra day's work every week. I've had staff do that for me in the past, and I have never knocked back a pay rise to them because of the dedication that they show. How do you do an extra day's work every week? Well, it's not a Saturday or a Sunday, that's for sure. Turn up 30 minutes early. Leave 30 minutes late. Sit at your desk and eat your lunch while you're doing some work. If you can do that, you'll add approximately 1.5 to 2 hours every day to your work day. 1.5 hours a day, that's an extra 7.5 hours a week. Now, if you do that and your boss knows you're committed, you go and ask for a pay rise, they'll remember that. You're there early, you're staying after work, you're working through your wage, you're working through your lunch times. Another important thing to do if you are going to ask for a pay rise is in the couple of months before or all the time, ask for feedback. If you don't do this quarterly, at least, if you don't do it monthly, at least do it quarterly. And this is where you're going to get your boss to actively appraise how you're going and tell you where you can improve. And this is important because it adds weight and it's demonstrable when you go and ask for your pay rise to say, you told me to do that, I've worked really hard on it, and this is the outcome. You need to emphasize your strong points. Now, you know you really, really well. However, your boss may have 5, 10, 20, 50 employees, and they may forget the things that you can do, the special skills, the hands-on previous experience, which can help the business that they don't know about or they've forgotten. So it's a great opportunity for you to point out your strong points. What about training? Do extra training. If you can do training yourself, let them know. If anyone is offering you training, and this can be anything from first aid certificates to learning how to man the phones to workplace health and safety things, if they're offering the training, do the training. Makes you more valuable, makes you more eligible for a pay rise. You can volunteer for extra projects. If you know that one part of the business is working on something that they need help with, stick your hand up. See if you can help. They may not need you to or want you to, but stick your hand up and ask, right? That shows dedication. One thing you should always do is dress and act professionally. You should dress and act like you're in a position above what you already are in. It makes it much easier when you go and say, I'd like your consideration for a pay rise because blah, 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 that you already look as though you're worth it. Really important. Another thing that you can do is to keep in touch with industry trends. If you keep abreast of what's going on in the industry that your company is working in, and you use these as discussion points, it shows that you are genuinely and sincerely interested in what the business does. And that's a really good point to have on your side. When looking at those trends, also try and look ahead. See what's happening in the industry and anticipate needs that the company might have. Now, I'm not saying that you have to fulfill all of them, but when you're talking to your boss or your supervisors about them, it shows that you're on the ball, that you actually are taking an interest not only in the business, but in the industry and what's happening in the environment. You should always take the high road. And by taking the high road, I mean that you want to keep your work to the highest possible standards, you want to be 100% honest, and you want to be 100% ethical. People who take the low road, people who cut corners, people who tell white lies, they're the ones that when they turn up and they say, I'd like you to consider a pay rise for me, the boss goes, well, you know, you're not really living the values of the business. So always take the high road. Be a team player. One of the most important things you can do within an organisation is foster a sense of team spirit, be part of the organisation and help other people, right? As opposed to being selfish and greedy and using the, well, what's in it for me? What am I going to get? No one likes that. No one rewards that type of attitude. People reward team players. Another thing that you can do is no loose ends. There is nothing worse than being asked for a pay rise and having someone say, look at all of this and look what I've done and isn't it fantastic, and completely ignoring an area that they've failed on or they haven't done well or is their responsibility and it's an absolute kibosh. So don't leave any loose ends. Do the whole job, do it really well. Stay on track. If you've got a project, if you've got a deadline, if you've got a budget, if you've got to, get something done so that someone else in the organisation can do their part next, stay on track, okay? One day might turn into 2, which might turn into 4, which turns into a fortnight. Suddenly everything's falling around. When you go and ask for a pay rise, that's not going to be looked on favourably at all. So, 2 final things. Take responsibility. And this is where I want you to think of someone. When everyone is asking if someone was going to do that, or if someone has done it, I want you to be someone. Say, I'll do it. I'll get it done. I'll take responsibility. And the final thing is, wherever possible, show discretionary effort. Go the extra yard without being asked. It is one of those things that will just catapult you above other employees when you're asking for a pay rise, because people remember, oh yeah, I remember that they did that, and that's money in the bank. Let's go on to chapter 3.